Hey guys, welcome back. So today I was at Harbor Freight buying something I didn't need, of course, and they were having a huge sale that lasts until tomorrow. So if you're one of the lucky ones that sees this video the day it comes out, this sale is good until tomorrow. But they have these two sets of lights. One is an LED version and one is an incandescent version, and they're basically just lights on a string. And the incandescent version was basically $18, and the LED version was $22. And I've been thinking about starting a series where we're using really cheap materials because that's what's available to most beginning woodworkers. So what I've got here is I've got these cedar pickets that you can get from your big box store, and they're super cheap, $4 a piece. And we're going to be using 3 of these, I think, to build basically a light fixture with these hanging pendant lights on it. And we're going to use these for the pendant lights. And the nice thing about this is I'm actually making this for Grace because she's been asking me for a very long time to make her something like this. And this just happens to work out perfectly. These are outdoor lights, and because of the way they're wired together, we're going to be able to keep them that way. I'm not going to cut these up. We're going to use this strip exactly the way it is. So let's unbox. I think I'm going to start with the LED versions because that's the ones we're going to use. So let's open it up and check out the lights. All right, so interestingly enough, when I saw the picture on the front of the box, and obviously it says they're LED, I figured that these were permanently mounted inside these sockets, but they're not. These are actually just regular light bulb sockets. The only thing that makes these two packages different is that the bulbs that they send you are LED bulbs. So these are replaceable. So initially I thought this cheap light fixture that we're going to build was going to have to be thrown away once the lights went bad, but it looks like we can switch these out when they go out. So let's take a look at this. These lights, this is a 24-foot strand, and from light to light, basically we've got 24 inches. Okay, so that should mean we have a little bit of play at the beginning, and actually at the end there is a female connector so that you can string these together, it seems. But like I said, we're going to use this entire strip just the way it is. I'm not going to cut it up because I want to keep that outdoor rating to it and be able to use it outdoor, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it outside our RV above our picnic table. So that's very cool. They send you 3, 6, 9, 12. They send you 15 bulbs. There's only 12 sockets, so you get an extra 3 bulbs with this. Not bad for $22. So there is the string of lights. Like I said, if you're seeing this on August, what is this, 19th? If you're seeing this on August 19th, you have until August 20th to pick these up on sale for $22. Normally, I think it said it was $40, so even then, it's still pretty cheap. On to the next step is I'm going to use this cedar, and basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to build a really rustic box out of this, and I may even trim it, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 cedar planks and 1 on top to make kind of a hollow box, and then we're going to hang these lights from it. So the one thing that I didn't realize is I thought that these bulbs hung down from here a bit longer. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the box or whatever, but they only hang down just a little bit, and so that means I'm not going to be able to vary the heights of this, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a number of lights at different heights, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to do that. The most I can do that it looks like it's going to be about 2 inches. So I may end up doing that, I may not. So the first thing I want to do is I'm not really concerned with the look of this, because I do want to keep this rustic. So I'm not going to plane these. Again, I'm making this to be a beginner's woodworking project. So I'm not going to plane these. I'm not going to do much of anything to them I want to keep this rustic look to them. So all I'm going to do really is I'm going to trim off the ends, and then I'm going to use a table saw, and I'm going to get myself some nice flat or straight edges. But I'll keep the faces intact. Okay, so I've got 3 pieces of cedar here. These sticks of cedar, these pickets, are 5.5 inches wide each. I'm going to keep the base, the bottom, which will be basically above you on the light. I'm going to keep that at the 5.5 inches, but I'm going to trim the sides of the box down to, I think, 4.5 inches. I don't want that box to be terribly tall. Plus, I've got this cedar, these couple sticks of cedar that have this bad edge here, and I just want to trim that off anyways. So what I'm going to do first is I want to keep as much of this 5.5 inches on this particular board here. So I'm just going to go one way on my table saw and rip off a tiny bit of one edge. I'm going to come to the other side, I'm going to rip off another tiny bit on this edge, and then I'll clean it up one last time, almost like you would on a joining it, to get a nice straight board. But instead of joining it, I'm just going to run it through several iterations on the table saw. Okay, so our the base of our light is 48 inches long, and there are 12 lights, and I want 2 rows of 6. So to evenly space these, I want to calculate the distance between each one of these lights. Now I'm going to offset them, okay? I'm not going to put the lights right in the center. I'm going to start at one end and run them this way, and then I'm going to come to the other side, and I'm going to start at this end and run them this way, and they should be staggered so that they roughly meet about halfway in between each other on each row. All right, so I've got the horizontal lines drawn down down this piece of lumber where each of the 2 rows of lights are going to go. Now I need to mark or plot out basically where each bulb is going to go. Now to make sure that they're staggered, or to make sure that they're even, right? I'm going to stagger them. I'm going to have basically 2 rows here. Don't look at the numbers yet, okay? I'm going to cover that so you're not getting ahead of me visually. Okay, I'm going to have 2 rows here of 6. 6 lights up here, 6 lights down here. All right, and they're going to be staggered. So this row on the bottom is going to be basically centered between the lights on the top. So how do I know what this distance is between each light and the edge? So one way to think about this is we need to count all of the spaces in between the lights, okay? Now mentally, if you would just bring these bottom lights up and put them on the same row as your top lights, right? So imagine these are all in the same row as this one. How many spaces do we have? We have 1 space here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay? So we have 13 spaces over the span of 48 inches. And if we take 48 inches and basically divide it by 13, we come up with 3.692 inches, and that is the spacing for each bulb. Okay, for each bulb as we go from left to right, regardless of what row it's on, or irrespective, I should say, of which row it's on. So I'm gonna mark, I've already taken this block and I've cut this block to 3.692 inches, just using my calipers and my miter saw. And I'm gonna go ahead and plot out that distance on this board. All we have is a grid. All right, we've got a grid that's gonna lay out all of our lights. And we're not gonna have any lights on the edge, of course, we're gonna have a little space here. All right, so I'm gonna just start laying out these rows. And one of these rows is gonna have one at the very first spot, right? So we're gonna stagger them. we'll go, one's gonna go here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that's where our lights are gonna go. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to take one of these bolts here, these wires, and I'm gonna try, what I wanna do is I wanna slip these wires in through the side. So I'm gonna find, I'm not gonna use this broad edge, I'm gonna use this thinner edge, and I'm gonna try and find a drill bit that matches the thickness of this wire. I think we may be good. I think I'm going to try for a kind of snug fit here. I'm going to go with a 5/32 bit and try and make that work. So now all I'm going to do is I'll take my drill and I'm going to drill holes all the way down through here. All right, so now you'll see that I have holes all the way down this board. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my table saw and I'm going to cross cut this board. I'm going to raise my blade up to the height of this drilled out portion here. And then I'm going to use my table saw to basically just create a cut here that we can slide these wires into. So I basically got the slots cut for these cords that are going to go in here. I am going to just sand this down so it looks a little prettier, and then we'll install the lights. All right, so I've got all the light sockets in. Again, in my head, these were longer. I wasn't paying attention, but I'm already here and doing it, so I'm just gonna keep going. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to attach the sides of this to the base of the lamp. And I'm gonna be using a pin nailer and just some wood glue. All right, so this thing's been clamped overnight because it just got to be too hot in the shop to continue working yesterday. Otherwise, I would have just finished this up at once. But now I think we're going to just put the end caps on and then trim this out, and then we'll give it a finish. All right, so like before, I'm just going to put a little glue here on the ends. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim along all four sides, and then I'm going to trim on the bottom. And I'm going to bring a trim in just enough to cover the majority of these slots that I cut to slip these wires in. This isn't fine woodworking by any stretch of the imagination, but I think this is going to come out just great for what's going to end up being probably a $40 light fixture here. So what I'm going to do is just visually, I'm going to kind of look and see what this looks like. And I don't think I'll go the full length of the slot, even though you will be able to see the slots if you look up at the light. Again, not fine woodworking. So I think it looks like we're at about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, something in that neighborhood. On this face trim, I'm going to put this on first, I think, and I'll go ahead and miter the edges here, or the corners where they meet, just so that you can get a little practice setting up and using your miter saw. So we'll miter these corners, but then when we do the trim on these sides, I think we'll just lap them with 90-degree angles. So let's go ahead and put on the face, what's going to be this trim on this face here. All right, so I've got my trim, and I'm just going to lay it out here on what is the bottom of the light, where the lights come out, and I'm going to just flush mount this trim to the front here. So I'm just going to lay it out and mark it. So I've got my two pieces here. I'm just going to cut the ends off of this at 45, and then we'll make the smaller pieces. All right, so I've got my mitered trim here. I'm just going to make sure that it does fit and we're not overhanging here. And it looks good. Just going to put a little glue on here. And there we go. We just got some trim here on the bottom part of this where the lights are going to hang down. Again, those corners are mitered just to add, I don't know, a little bit more appeal to this otherwise very rustic, very cheap and easy build here. All right, so now I'm going to do the trim on these sides. All right, now I'm going to stick with popular convention here, and I'm going to keep my stiles the full height of the piece, and then my rails I'm going to cut short to fill the gaps. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark these for my stiles. All right, now we've got both ends trimmed here very quickly. And we'll just go ahead and do the same thing on the faces. All right, so basically here is our finished hanging rustic light box fixture thing. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the ebonizing fluid that I made in a previous video for this, and I'm just going to pour this into a spray bottle. And now we're going to spray down this cedar with this ebonizing fluid, and we're going to watch how it ages this wood rather quickly. Well, there you have it. Our $40 Harbor Freight Rustic. Not going to get you on the cover of any woodworking magazines, but light fixture. And again, sorry this is coming out the day that Harbor Freight's having a sale, but at least I'm going to get it out a good 10 hours before the sale ends. $22 for the lights, about $20 for the cedar. So you're looking at 42 plus tax. Let's call it 45 bucks for this light, and it's outdoor. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, like I mentioned before, this is part of a series I'm hoping to create where I'm going to be using really, really cheap wood materials to do very basic beginner woodworking projects, so that you can hone your skills and you can get better at all the different nuances that are woodworking. Please hit that subscribe button. You guys have made our channel blow up. I say blow up, relative, right? Relative to what we're used to, it has blown up over the last few months. We went from, reaching for 1,000 to having 1,500 just over the course of a few weeks. So thank you for that. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.